Morning.
Good
Hey, Mat-
morning, mayong buntag, Amba.
Buntag. How are you now? Are you
Uh,
getting fine?
so far so good.
That's great this time.
Yes. And
So,
ikaw, Amba?
me, I'm also fine today. It's very hot in the Philippines
Oh,
right
really?
now.
What
Yes.
degrees of temperature?
Right now, like 20, 28 or
28.
29. Yeah,
Wow.
something like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
very
think
sunny.
it's more. It will be more hot around noon or afternoon.
Yes, that's right.
Wow,
Yes. And
ridiculous.
outside, can you see many cherry blossoms outside?
Oh, exactly. I see. I can see some beautiful cherry blossom in places about parks or promenade, etc.
Steve, that's good. All
Mm.
right. Thank you for that.
And
So
Amba,
today, yes.
I have something to ask you.
Okay.
と I want to shoot this lesson and share the video with my friends. May I do it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, no
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
done. Okay.
So let's start now. You're
Of course.
already in 1121.
Mhm.
The last head word is at times. So let's start with your revision part today.
Okay.
Okay, first question. In reference to language learning, what's an oral examination? In reference to language learning, what's an oral examination? In
In
reference to
reference to
language
language
learning,
learning,
by an
by
oral
an oral
examination,
examination,
we
it's
mean a
women
speaking
speaking
test.
test.
In the long run, does a good oral hygiene routine reduce the need for fillings? In the long run, does a good oral hygiene routine reduce the need for fillings? Yes, in the
Yes,
long
in the long
run, a
run,
good
a good
oral
oral
hygiene
hygiene
routine
routine
reduces
reduces
the need
the
for
need
filling.
for fillings.
Why do you suppose people tend to become more conservative as they get older? Why do you suppose people tend to become more conservative as they get older? I
I
suppose
suppose
people
people
tend to
tend to
become more
become more
conservative
conservative
as they get
as they get
older
older
because some
because
things
some
are
things are
new to
new
them
to them
and they think
and they
that
think
they
that
are
they
too
are
old
too old
to
to
change their
change
way
their
of
way of
living.
living.
When it comes to selecting what to wear each day, do you pay any attention to the weather forecast on the radio or TV? When it comes to selecting what to wear each day, do you pay any attention to the weather forecast on the radio or TV? Yes, no.
Yes.
When it comes
When
to
it comes to
selecting what to
selecting
wear
what to
each
wear
day,
each
we
day,
pay attention
I pay attention
to the weather
to the weather
forecast
forecast
on the radio
on the
or
radio
TV.
or TV.
Is the forecast for next weekend favorable? Is the forecast for next weekend favorable? Yes, no. The
Yes. The
forecast for
forecast
next
for next
weekend
weekend
is
is
favorable.
favorable.
In a hotel, what's the difference between a continental breakfast and an English breakfast? In a hotel, what's the difference between a continental breakfast and an English breakfast? In a
In a
hotel,
hotel,
the
the
difference
difference
between a
between a
continental
continental
breakfast
breakfast
and an English
the English
breakfast
breakfast
is that a
is that a
continental
continental
breakfast
breakfast
consists of
consists
fruit
of
juice,
fruit juice,
bread,
bread,
sweet
sweet
pastries,
pastries,
jam,
jam,
marmalade, and
marmalade,
so
and
on.
so on.
Whereas an
Whereas
English
an English
breakfast
breakfast
consists
consists
of
of
eggs,
eggs,
bacon,
bacon,
sausages,
sausages,
tomatoes, and
tomatoes,
so
and
on.
so on.
All right, for a moment, please.
Okay,
So
okay,
here.
okay.
Now, what's a catalog? What's a catalog? A
A
catalog is
catalog
a
is
book
a book
containing a
containing
list of
a
things
list of
that
things that
you can buy,
you can
use,
buy, use,
etc.
etc.
Often
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 and,
pictures.
and often pictures.
Yes. And have you seen an alien? Have you seen an alien? Yes, no.
No,
I haven't
I
seen
haven't
an
seen an
alien.
alien.
Is it safe to let a toddler walk by himself? Is it safe to let a toddler walk by himself? No, it
No,
isn't
it isn't
safe to
safe
let
to
a
let the
toddler
toddler
walk by
walk by
himself.
himself.
What's a pond? What's a pond? A pond
A
is
pond is
an area of
an area
water
of water that is surrounded
land
by land
and is
and is
smaller
smaller
than a
than
lake.
a lake.
Have you ever been so angry that it was difficult for you to control your rage? Have you ever been so angry that it was difficult for you to control your rage? Yes, no.
Yes.
I've been
I've been so angry
that it
that
was difficult
was
for
difficult
me
for me
to control
to
my
control my
rage.
rage.
And where do we usually store wines? Where do we usually store wines? We
We
usually
usually
store
store
wines in
wines
the
in the
cellar.
cellar.
And we have here, what's a parade? What's a parade? A parade
A parade
is a
is
public
a public
celebration
celebration
of a
of
special
a
day
special
or
day
event
for
that
event
usually
that usually
includes
includes many people and
groups
groups
moving down a
moving down
street
a street
by marching
by
or
marching or riding in cars
or in
or
special
in special
vehicles.
vehicles. Synologue.
Have you one more time?
For example, Synologue in
Ah,
Cebu.
yes, that's right. Sinulog.
Synologue.
Have you ever seen a wolf? Have you ever seen a wolf? Yes, no.
No,
I've never
I've never
seen
seen
a
a
wolf.
wolf.
Which place in your country has the highest population density? Which place in your country has the highest population density?
Tokyo
Is the
is a
place
place in my country
the
which has
highest
the highest
population
population
density?
density.
What problem would arise in your home if you never put things away after using them? What problem would arise in your home if you never put things away after using them? If I
If
never
I
put
never
things
put things
away
away
after
after
using
using
them,
them,
the house
the
would get
house would get
incredibly
incredibly
messy,
messy
and I wouldn't
and
be
I wouldn't be
able to
able
find
to find
anything.
anything.
If you were on a boat in a storm and somebody fell overboard, do you reckon you'd have the guts to jump in the water and try to save them? If you were in a boat in a storm and somebody fell overboard, do you reckon you'd have the guts to jump in the water and try to save them? Yes, no.
No.
If I were on
If
a
I were
boat
on a
in
boat
a
in
storm
a
and
storm and
somebody
somebody
fell
fell
overboard,
overboard,
I
I
reckon I
reckon
don't
I
have the
don't have the
guts to
guts
jump in
to
the
jump in the
water
water
and try to
and try
save
to
them.
save them.
And when a patient undergoes surgery, what do we call the doctor that operates on them? When a patient undergoes surgery, what do we call doctor that operates on them? When a
When a
patient
patient
undergoes
undergoes
surgery,
surgery,
we call the
we
doctor
call the
that
doctor that
operates on
operates
them
on
a
them
surgeon.
a surgeon.
When you've got an appointment at a doctor's surgery, do you just walk straight into the room where the doctor is, or are you shown in? When you've got an appointment at a doctor's surgery, do you just walk straight into the room where the doctor is, or are you shown in? When I've got
When I've
an
got an
appointment
appointment
at a
at
doctor's
a doctor's
surgery,
surgery,
I don't
I
just
don't
walk
just walk
into the room
into the
where
room
the
where the
doctor
doctor
is,
is,
but I'm
but
shown
I'm
in.
shown in.
When two objects rub together, does the friction create heat? When two objects rub together, does a friction create heat? Yes, when
Yes,
two
when two
objects rub
objects rub
together,
together,
the friction
the friction
creates.
creates heat.
Is it normal for husbands and wives to compromise at times in order to avoid friction in a relationship? Is it normal for husbands and wives to compromise at times in order to avoid friction in the relationship? Yes, it's
Yes, it's
normal for
normal
husbands
for
and wives
husbands and wives
to compromise
to
at
compromise at
times
times
in order
in
to
order
avoid
to
friction
avoid
in the
friction in the
relationship.
relationship. In the relationship.
Yes. And why do you suppose weekends seem to go by so much? Okay, this is new work already.
Okay, okay, okay.
All right. So repeat after me, go
Okay.
by.
Go by.
Listen, go by is a phrasal verb,
Mhm.
means if time goes by, it passes. Example, the days seem to go by very slowly. It's so boring and dull. Let's practice.
Okay.
Why do you suppose weekends seem to go by so much more quickly than weekdays? Why do you suppose weekends seem to go by so much more quickly than weekdays? I
I
suppose
suppose weekends
seem to go
seem
by
to go
so
by
much
so
more
much more
quickly
quickly
than
than weekdays
weekdays because
because there is a big difference in concentration. Generally speaking, we usually do what we love in weekends, whereas on weekdays we do things what we don't like. So we are not focused.
okay, very good. Now repeat stretch,
Stretch,
turn back,
turn back,
Listen, now stretch is a
Okay.
noun, a continuous area or length of land or water. We were driving in an open stretch of road. Now turn back is a phrasal verb, means to go back in the direction you came from, to make someone do this. If a stretch of road I was driving along suddenly came to an end, I'd have to turn back. Let's practice.
Okay.
If a stretch of road you were driving along suddenly came to an end, what would you have to do? If a stretch of road you were driving along suddenly came to an end, what would you have to do? If a
If
stretch
a
of
stretch of
road
road
I was
I
driving
was
along
driving along
suddenly
suddenly came to an end,
I'd have to
I'd
turn
have
back.
to turn back.
Repeat bulb,
Bulb.
flicker.
Flicker.
Yes, listen, bulb is a noun. It is a glass part of an electric light that
Mm.
shines, or a light bulb. There's a light bulb hanging on the ceiling. Flicker is a verb, means to shine unsteadily, on and off. A light is sometimes bright and sometimes weak. If a light bulb in my home started flickering, I think it's broken and I tried to fix it by turning it round tightly or change it with another light bulb. Let's practice. Now,
Okay.
if a light bulb in your home started flickering, what would you think and do? If a light bulb in your home started flickering, what would you think and do? If a light bulb
If a light
in my
bulb in
home
my home started
started flickering,
flickering,
I
I think it's deteriorating or broken and buy a new light bulb.
yes, very good. Now repeat appetite.
Appetite.
Let's say appetite, it is a noun, a physical desire or need for food. For example, my brother has got the biggest appetite in my family. Yes. Let's practice. Who's got the
Okay.
biggest appetite in your family? Who's got the biggest appetite in your family? Mine
My black cat
has got
has
the
got the
biggest
biggest
appetite
appetite
in my
in my
family.
family.
Yes. Repeat sound.
Sound.
Investment.
Investment.
Listen, investment is the act of using money, such as business, to earn more. Example, his investments to some different businesses made him one of the richest men in the country. Now, sound is an adjective showing or based on good judgment. By a sound advice or sound financial investment, we mean a piece of advice or financial investment that is good quality and which we can depend on. Let's practice.
Okay.
Now, what do we mean by sound advice or a sound financial investment? What do we mean by sound advice or sound financial investment? By sound
By sound
advice
advice
or a
or
sound
a sound financial investment,
we mean
we
piece
mean
of
a piece of
advice
advice
or a
or
financial
a financial
investment
investment
that's good
that's good
quality
quality
and
and which we can with which we can
which we can
depend on. Thank you.
Yes. Repeat compensate,
Compensate.
make up for.
Make up for.
Yes, let's say compensate is a verb. It means giving something, usually money or food, for loss, problem, for delay, injury, to make them feel better. Airlines compensate passenger when journeys are severely delayed by giving them free meals, free stay at hotel, etc. Make up for is a verb. Means make bad situation better or replace something that has been lost. If I forgot my best friend's birthday, I'd make up for it by arranging a party together with our friends. Let's
Or
practice. The airlines compensate passengers when journeys are severely delayed. The airlines compensate passengers when journeys are severely delayed. Yes, no.
yes.
Airlines
Airlines
compensate
compensate the passengers
when journeys
when
are
journeys are
severely
severely
delayed.
delayed.
If you forgot your best friend's birthday, how would you make up for it? If you forgot your best friend's birthday, how would you make up for it? If I
If I
forgot
forgot
my best
my
friend's
best
birthday,
friend's birthday,
I'd make up
I'd
for
make
it
up for it
by,
by making a surprise event as soon as possible.
yes, very good. Now repeat chop.
Chop.
Listen, it is a verb, means to cut something into pieces with an axe, knife, or other sharp instruments. All right. Example, I'm pretending to chop wood with an axe. Let's practice. Example,
Okay.
I'm pretending to chop wood with an axe. What am I pretending to do? What am I pretending to do? You're
You
pretending to
pretending
chop
to chop
wood
wood
with an
With an
X.
X.
Yes. Repeat. Stick out.
Stick out.
Grab.
Grab.
Skip.
Skip.
Yes. Now listen, stick out, it
Mhm.
means if something sticks out, you notice it because a part of it is comes out further from the rest. His wallet is sticking out of his pocket. Another meaning of stick out is to continue doing that is difficult, painful, or boring. Example, when I'm in a hurry and have to skip breakfast, I'm not able to stick it out till lunchtime easily. It's often a struggle for me. Skip is a verb. Choose not to do something you usually do for some reason. I was in a hurry this morning, so I skipped my breakfast. Grab is to take and hold something with your hands. A man grabbed a lady's bag with a lot of money in the street. Let's practice.
Okay.
Why is it better not to walk around in public with your wallet sticking out of your pocket? Why is it better not to walk around in public with your wallet sticking out of your pocket? It's better
It's better
not to walk around
in
with
public
your
with your wallet
sticking out
of your pocket
because
someone might try
grab
to grab it.
When you're in a hurry and have to skip breakfast, are you able to stick it out till lunchtime fairly easily? When you're in a hurry and have to skip breakfast, are you able to stick it out till lunchtime fairly easily? Yes, no.
No.
When I'm
When
in a
I'm in a hurry
and have to
and
skip
have to skip breakfast,
I'm not able
I'm not
to
able to stick it out
till
till lunchtime
fairly
till lunchtime fairly easily.
Yes, all right. Repeat cramp,
Cramp.
isolated,
Isolated.
rural,
Rural.
habitation.
Habitation.
Let's say cramp is a noun, a painful muscle movement after doing physical exercise. Example, he did 2 hour long exercise and felt cramp all over his body. Isolated is it means away from others. There's some isolated part of the world where people have never been. Rural is a place away from the city. Life in rural is calm and quiet. Habitation is a noun, the act of living in a place. I'd prefer to live in isolated rural environment far from sign of habitation than cramped in a city area surrounded by busy crowd. Let's practice.
Okay.
In which part of the body do people usually suffer from cramp? Which part of the body do people usually suffer from cramp? People usually suffer from
cramp
in their leg,
in their
foot,
leg, foot,
etc.
etc.
Very flexible. Very good.
Yes.
Where would you prefer to live? In a cramped inner city area surrounded by busy crowd or in isolated rural environment far from any other sign of habitation? Where would you prefer to live? In a cramped inner city area surrounded by busy crowd or in an isolated rural environment far from any other sign of habitation? I'd prefer to live
to
in
live in an isolated rural environment far from any other sign of habitation.
Yes, repeat take on.
Take on.
Listen, take on is a phrasal verb, means to accept, let someone join in a group or company. There was 30 teaching staff taken on recently, or let someone join a company. As far as I know, this school has taken on new staff recently. Now, if I say I think I've taken on too much, I mean I thought I'd accepted too much work or responsibility. Let's practice.
Okay.
Has the school taken on new staff recently? As far as you know, has the school taken off new staff recently? As far as you know, yes, no.
Yes.
This school
This
has
school
taken
has
on
taken on
some new staff
some new staff recently,
as far as
as far as I know.
What would I mean if I said I think I've taken on too much? What would I mean if I said I think I've taken on too much? If you
If you
said
said,
I think
I think, I think,
sorry, I think
I
I've
think
taken
I've
on
taken
too
on too
much,
much,
you'd mean
you'd
that
mean
you
that
thought
you
you'd
thought you'd accepted
too much work
too much or too much work
or
or
responsibility.
responsibility.
Good.
Mhm.
Repeat stop off,
Stop off.
stop over,
Stop over.
Yes. Now listen.
Mhm.
Stop off is a phrasal verb, means to pay a short visit. He stopped off at the bank on the way home. Stop over is to communicate that one spends the night somewhere while on a long journey. On our way to UK to Australia, we stop over Beijing for one night. Let's practice. Now, which of these sentences is correct? He stopped off at the bank on the way home, or he stopped over at the bank on the way home? Which of these two sentences is correct? He stopped off at the bank on the way home, or he stopped over at the bank on the way home? He
He
stopped
stopped
off
off
at the
at the
bank
bank
on the
on
way
the way
home is
home is
correct.
correct.
Why? Because stop
Because stop
over
over
communicates that
that
he spent the
he
night
spent the night
somewhere
somewhere
while on a
while
long
on a long
journey.
journey.
So give me an example of stop over, please. Give me an example of stop over, please. On our way
On our
from the
way from the
UK to
UK to
Australia,
Australia,
we stopped over
we
in
stopped over in
Beijing
Beijing
for
for
one
one
night.
night.
Yes, all right. This time, let's do your reading part.
Okay.
Yes. Kindly go to 1090, please.
90.
Next to the head word following. Let me double check.
Okay. 90.
If you fell out with your best friend.
That best friend.
The last question. You can start with, let me check.
Okay.
Here, 1091 install.
Okay. Max got nata.
Yes.
Install. Expert. Are you capable of installing a new washing machine, or would you have to get an expert to do it? No, I'm not capable of installing a new washing machine. I'd have to get an expert to do it. Blush. Comment. Do you blush easily when someone makes a flattering comment about you in front of other people? No, I don't blush easily when someone makes a flattering comment about me in front of other people. Limp. What am I doing? You are limping. What does it mean if we describe the flowers or leaves of a plant as limp? If we describe the flowers or leaves of a plant as limp, it means they are softer than they should be and not firm and healthy. A route. Which route do you follow when you go home? The route I follow I follow when I go home is getting off at the bus terminal of Shinjuku Station, buying food at nearby supermarket, and arriving at my home in about 15 minutes in all. Next page. Writing a story. Sequence. Set the scene. Departure gate. Boarding pass. Devastated. Below. When we are telling a story, is it normal to use contractions? Yes, when we are writing a story, it's normal to use contractions. Which kind of linking expressions are especially important when we are telling a story? The kind of linking expressions that are especially important when we are telling a story is the ones that communicate time and sequence ideas. Give me some examples, please. Before long, 3 weeks later, meanwhile, etc. Which tenses do we normally use when telling or writing a story? When telling or writing a story, we normally use the past simple, the past continuous, and the past perfect. In a story, what's the purpose of the past simple? In a story, the purpose of the past simple is to communicate the main events in the story. Give me an example, please. I suddenly saw a man. And what's the purpose of the past continuous? The purpose of the past continuous is to set the scene and give background information. Give me an example, please. I was walking along the street one day when I suddenly saw a man. When do we use the past perfect in a story? We use the past perfect in a story to mention something that happened at an earlier time. Give me an example, please. I was walking along the street one day when I suddenly saw a man that I had been to secondary school with. Tell me a simple way of making descriptions in a story more interesting. A simple way of making description in a story more interesting is by using verbs and adjectives. Repeat this sentence, adding words to improve the description. The man put the gun back on the table. The old man slowly put the gun back on the table. Surprisingly, the man put the loaded gun back on the table. Sum, subtract, take away. Why is it a good idea to avoid carrying large sums of cash around with you when you are traveling?
All right. Sorry to cut you off.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you so much for today's lesson, Yama-chan. We are
Yes.
now in 1123 today.
Okay.
I appreciate your effort today for stage 12.
Yes,
I hope
as
you have a
usual.
great day. Thank
Yes,
you so
thank you.
much.
Chat
Bye
later.
bye.
Bye bye. ということで、カランメソッドステージ12、カランノーマルですね、ステージ12のいつものレッスンが終わりました。この後は退出をして、先生の感想や良かった点を書いて、この日の復習をしようと思います。もし質問や相談がありましたら、説明欄のコンタクトフォームから山中和志へ連絡していただけます。今回も動画のご視聴ありがとうございます。それではまた。